What is going on, everybody? Hope you're enjoying Resident Evil 8 on whatever platform you're playing it on. I'm still deciding on whether I want to stream Returnal or just play it offline. If that's something you want to see me stream, I need to hear it. I know you all like me playing the PlayStation games, but maybe I'll do a poll on Twitter, but I need to hear it. But before we even get into that, be sure to check out my channel, Black Bond. Check out my latest videos, Xbox Game Pass. Even Microsoft knows their fans don't play games. Game reviewers, and yes, I completed Cold Steel 4, so that is the completion of the Cold Steel arc in the legendary Legend of Heroes franchise. Also, be sure to check out the podcast members, myself, BG, Jack Move, Kid Smooth, and Jimmy. And if you like to support us, you agree with our content, you like our content, you want to show your appreciation, we do have a Patreon over at Weapon Wheel Podcast, which is Sundays at 5:45. We hit a milestone record in the modern era of Weapon Wheel. I believe it was 370. I'm trying to see that number up to 400. Because if we can get 500, we're going to be doing some things. So today's topic, the Hard8 Affliction. The disease known as Hard8. Let's see, how do we describe it? We'll describe it, then we'll talk about what it is. When Hard8 was around here ages ago, around the pre-Battlefield 3 days, right? Oh, there's no big difference between consoles and PC. Oh, these PC nerds and their frame rates and their resolutions, and who cares if they have 64 players on Battlefield and we have 24 on consoles? Blah, 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 blah. And then Hard8 got a PC. A gaming PC. I want to say he started out with a 480. I could be wrong. I believe it was a 480. And man, when this guy got his first gaming PC, it was like he lost his virginity. His eyes were open, and from that day forward, he was hooked. 480s, 580s, 680s, 780s, 980s, 1080s, 2080s, 3080s, 3090s, TIs, returning them, buying them, selling them, trading them, CPUs, GPUs, fans, cases, coolers. I don't even need to get started into this man in TVs. The Hard8 Affliction, the disease known as Hard8, it just makes you consume hardware. Like the Borg. You just keep buying it because you can never get enough of it. You always have to have the latest and greatest. It's not good enough to have one gold chain. You gotta stack chains on chains on chains. And I'll be honest, I'm not trying to dog on this relationship, but I know a lot of guys, like Glock Ninja, remember? Remember Glock Ninja was like, oh, I had to ask my woman if I could buy a $40 game? Yo. Lord have mercy. Lord knows how much money, time, resources, energy, gas this man has spent going back and forth between Best Buy and Micro Center, whatever. The affliction is real. The disease is real. And I knew the disease was real when this man was complaining that he could not run Max Payne 3 with 8x MSAA. And I was like, why do you need 8x MSAA? Just run it at 2, it's fine. No, I need 8. And I ain't getting 60 at 8. I'm like, what? Huh? Now keep in mind, I've been around PC gaming since forever. DOS 3.1. My friends used to have LAN parties in the basement with 8 megabyte graphics cards. Yes, 8 megabyte graphics cards. I remember a dude brought over a 32 megabyte graphics card, and people thought it was the craziest thing in the world to pair with an Athlon 64. Been around. I remember my first computer for gaming was a 120 megahertz Packard Bell with 24 megabytes RAM. And I got a 133 megahertz, I don't even know what the hell it was. It was a Pentium with 32 megabytes RAM on my 33.6 kbps modem. Not even 56K. We was out there playing. NetMech, StarCraft, Doom, Command and Conquer, you name it. But this man has an appetite that cannot be quelled when it comes to consuming hardware. He just absorbs it into his body or into his credit card or his wallet. But like I said, he has a fixation on the minute details. Look at Max Payne bullet damage. Look at Max Payne 3 8x MSAA. I feel like if Max Payne 3 did not exist, Hard8 would have a better time and a cheaper time in gaming. I really do. But my whole point is this. The Affliction is real. We saw minor glimpses of it back with the GTA 5 next-gen grass better on PS4. See, console gamers really didn't have the affliction, the disease known as Hard8 back in the day. They were most likely in denial about 30 frames per second being welfare, 60 not being important, 1080p not being important, 720p and blah, 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 you know. But every generation, console fanboys just get worse and become bigger hypocrites. So it started with grass. And as you can see, you know, the affliction is spreading faster than the C19 virus. Because Smooth secured another PS5. And again, that's what Hard8 does. He buys a console, he sells a console. He buys a console, he sells a console. He buys a console, he sells a console. He buys a graphics card, he sells a graphics card. He buys a TV, he sells a TV. He buys a TV, he sells a TV. He buys a sound system, he sells a sound system. He buys a Blu-ray player, he sells it. He buys... This man cannot be content for the life of everything I know. You know what? I'm just going to say, I've been wondering this for a while. For a guy that cannot sit still on a piece of hardware, I need to know how he sits still on one woman. To me, it doesn't really compute. I just imagine Hard8 dealing with women, just literally switching them out every 3 days. I want a new one. I'm tired. But, you know, more props to him. I got the Hard8 affliction on women, but he's more like me in PC when it comes to women. So I guess to each his own. You know, I guess everybody's different. But now we have console gamers like Smooth pulling the Hard8, just buying and selling and trading and buying and selling and trading. And the funny thing is, people like Smooth, oh, I don't like PC gaming. You have to keep buying too many things and you have to keep upgrading. I don't feel like spending money and I don't feel like being hassled. My man's probably gone through 2 TVs, 3 monitors, 3 PS5s, multiple Xbox One X's, Series X's, Series S's, the controllers. It's like, oh my God. Hard8, the affliction, the disease, the grip. It's taken over the world. It's taken over Twitter. Shit, got me looking at 3080 Ti's on Google every day. Wondering when them coming out so I can buy one. Maybe I got the disease. I don't want it. I mean, we got Rev right here. Rev had a PS5, sold it, bought a new one. I believe he bought another PS3 because he sold an old one. And I believe he just recently rebought the PlayStation 4. And God knows he's going to go through some bullcrap with the Series X. Even solid Rev has the affliction. The disease known as Hard8. It's spreading. It's real. People just buying obscene amounts of hardware. Gold chain and... Yo. I'm sorry, but... we might have to up gold chaining to like platinum. Like if you go through 3 gold chains in a row, you just get a platinum chain around your neck. Because it's getting ridiculous, it's getting obscene, and if you ever want to wonder why these companies keep charging this insane prices on graphics cards and CPUs, blame the Hard8 affliction. blame the disease known as Hard8. Hell, back when 560s were around, when I got the 560 Ti's, they were $250 each. The 580s were $500. Now 80 series cards are pushing $1,000. In 10 years' time, we have almost doubled the price of video cards. People would scoff at a $250 video card now. They would scoff. But the disease doesn't stop with hardware. It doesn't stop with TVs, monitors, Blu-ray players, sound systems, consoles, and controllers, or grass in GTA. Now we're talking about dumb stuff like this on consoles. You won't even notice an occasional dip even if it's 7 frames per second. However, you will definitely notice a 7-second loading difference each time the game has to load. We really have people talking about load times of 7 seconds in console games. Let me repeat that. Load times of 7 seconds in console games. And comparing them to 7 frames per second. I would rather sit through minutes of load time to avoid 7 frames losing that in a game. Like, 7-second load time is nothing. But the fact that people are trying to juxtapose and compare 7 frames to 7 seconds, my mind is blown. I would wait a minute to not lose 7 frames. 7 frames is huge in 30 frames. 7 frames is disruptive in 60 frames. The only time 7 frames doesn't bother me is when it drops from 144 to 137 or from 120 to 113. Because I'll be honest with you, when the frame rate is that high, I can't tell the difference. But if it drops below 56, I can actively tell it's a difference. Period. But this is crazy. You got people like this talking about 7-second load times, 7 frames per second. You have guys like Smooth just going out and buying obscene amounts of hardware. Remember when he was complaining he doesn't like PC for that reason. To get this, to do this. Smooth says he plays, downloads, buys or game passes games that get updates so he can benchmark them. Let me repeat that. Benchmarking a static console game. Now, benchmarking is to see how your hardware will work with the game. How it runs, how it plays, messing with settings, and so forth. But there is no need to benchmark a console game because every console runs the damn game the same as every other damn console. Every PS4 runs the same. Every PS4 Pro runs the same. Every Series S runs the same. Every Series X runs the same as every other Series X. You're not looking at different graphics cards configurations. You're not looking at different RAM configurations, CPU, cooling, whatever. It is all the same, uniform. So why we are benchmarking games that have no difference from the same... Oh my god. The affliction, the disease is real. Console gamers have become so obsessed, they are taking every little minute thing and making the biggest deal of it. I remember when people would say, oh, PC gamers don't play games. They buy new hardware to benchmark games. Yeah, I see 100,000 people in Resident Evil 8. I don't think they're playing. I don't think they're benchmarking either. I think they're making nude mods for Lady Demetria, but that's just my opinion. I think they're going ham on that. That's why you have so many people. But the tides have turned. The affliction has infested and infected console gaming to where these dudes are now benchmarking games to where these guys are literally caring about the smallest details exponentially more than PC gamers do themselves. And my whole point is this: if all this stuff mattered, game preservation, frame rates, upgrading new versions, boost patches, all of this stuff, why were you not on PC gaming 5, 10 years ago? Oh, that's right, you said it was insignificant, it wasn't worthwhile, it wasn't a big deal, and it wasn't a big difference 5, 10 years ago, but now you want to talk about it's the biggest difference imaginable, but then you want to dunk on other people that think it's not a big deal. Again, if it was a big deal, people would have hopped on PC that thought it was a big deal. So as an Xbox guy, you can't try to convince a PlayStation gamer it's a big deal, because if it was a big deal to a PlayStation gamer, they would have bought a PC, or they'd own a PC. So, I don't know what the solution is. Then again, it was like this at the beginning of last generation. It's always about the Hard8 Affliction, and then games come and people stop talking and people whine and cry, blah, 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 blah. Why is it any different than last gen? But maybe we need to call the STARS agents in, the special tactics and recon team. Jill, Chris, somebody come in and find a cure for the Hard8 Affliction, for the disease known as Hard8, because it's getting out of control. It really is. We need to stop it. Because at the end of the day, it not only affects the gaming community as a whole, it affects the price of hardware. The more people that succumb to this disease, the higher pricing hardware will become. That's a fact. The more this disease spreads, the higher the price of hardware will go. Period. Just imagine hundreds of thousands of people with this disease. The MSRP for graphics cards is already a joke. We need to end this disease now. We need a cure. We need a fix. We need a problem solver. I'm Black Pond. I know this is a wild-ass video, and it was kind of far out there, but it's been on my mind for the past couple of days. I need to talk about it. It's Friday. The weather's warm. Enjoy your weekend. Have a happy Mother's Day. I'm out. Peace.